I am very honored to be a part of this wonderful idea that we should look at the future, not only about ourselves, but about the posterity that is coming in our footprints. The reason I combined these two rivers, as you see from the logo, I have the Princess of Lorelei from the river Rhine, and I have the dancing girl from Mohenjo-daro on the banks of the river Indus. These two civilizations, ancient civilization of Indus and European civilization of the Rhine, I have tried to put together. Many people, sir, have asked me, why did I choose rivers? I could have chosen flags, stars, moons. I told them because rivers have no nationality. The water has the same properties, same color, whether it's from the Indus or from the Rhine. It doesn't distinguish between the rich and the poor. It doesn't discriminate on the basis of color, skin, or creed. It is the only thing that guarantees our survival, not just human survival, but survival of everything that we see here, from vegetation to animals to insects to human beings. That was the idea that I thought two rivers, two waters should be combined, representing East and West. But as Goethe had said earlier in one of his beautiful theorems, that East and West both belong to God. So if we believe in God, then we, all of us, belong to Him. Even if we don't believe in God, we believe in one thing, and that is that this planet that we call Earth is our real mother. We have, in my view, two mothers. A mother that gives us birth, nourishes us, keeps us as long as she is alive. But she is my mother, not your mother. There is a greater mother, the greatest mother, that nourishes us all, that keeps us healthy, that sustains us. And when we leave this world, it doesn't leave us. It wraps us into her lap forever. It makes us a part of her. Now, this Mother Earth is not well now. I warn you, no other disease is inflicting her than the one that we have made. It is choking. It is alive. It needs to breathe in a healthy way, in a way that it can live and live forever, to sustain us, to retain us, and to let us do whatever we are doing and all our coming generations. What can we do to help her? Have we done something? Yes. We have injected some lethal things into her body. We have injected some. It has an amazing power to dissolve everything, except one thing. It cannot dissolve, and that is plastic. The greatest enemy of our mother that we have produced for our convenience is plastic. Let's think about it. Now, I'm not going to be someone who would say, let's stop producing it, but let's stop consuming it. That I can say without making any self angry. Or if we must consume it, we make sure that we don't inject in the healthy body of our mother. We keep it away from her. We keep it as far away from her as possible. Because I tell you one thing, ultimately, the creator, or if you think nature is the mother or nature is our God, would never take this blame on himself or herself. Humans will be held responsible. Even today, when somebody dies, we try to find the reasons. Heart attack, accident, illness. Nobody says he died because of the Mother Earth. He died because of God. No one ever says that. Why? Because that is true. If something happens to this earth, and it is happening, then no one else is to be blamed but we. We will be held responsible that we had gifted you this planet. It had everything. It had water, it had greenery, it had music in the shape of birds. It had everything that pleases your senses, your eyes, your intellect. Did you take care of it? How well did you look at these things? There was an old mystic, I'm sure many of you have heard his name. His name is Rumi. He is buried in Konya in today's Turkey. Many centuries ago, he came up with an idea which I would like to share with you. He looked at Earth and humanity. He said, are we related in some way or not? If I tell you that I am related to this stone, you will laugh at me perhaps. You will say, come on. Stone on the ground doesn't move, doesn't grow. You who will die one day, who was born one day, there has to be something absurd about it. No. He looked at it. He said, look at the formation of the stones. It has life. And he gave the examples of those small plants, those insects that receive life in the stones. Next, he looked at the trees. He looked at the plants. They come out of the same. There's a relationship between plants and the stones. Relationship between what we call earth or soil and the trees. They breathe, they grow. But the only thing they don't have is they cannot move from one place to other. They also give, if you call their fruit children, if you call their seeds next generation, they have all those things except one thing. They cannot move. But then he discovered there are some plants that move also. If you pluck them from one place, put them in another place, they will start growing there also. And they wrap around sometimes human beings also. So he said this is the third stage of our relationship with plants and those which move. Next comes animals. Animals share many habits with the plants. They also grow. They feed on those plants. They give birth to their offsprings. And they move. Is that all? No. What's the connection between animals and humans? Well, there are some animals that we thought, or some scientists thought, that we have evolved from. We have evolved from chimpanzees, or chimpanzees were monkeys, if we have evolved from them. So relationship is again built here, that there are some animals who have exactly the same habits that human beings have. Now, where should we go from this link to the next? He linked stones, plants, animals, and humans. And humans, the only way they can be linked is to their creator. If their creator is God, that is the next link. If their creator is nature, then that's the next link. Then back, the cycle is complete. We are back into the lap of nature. Now look at what we have achieved in this world. How far our minds have gone. It would not have been possible without the environment that this earth blessed us with. It would not have been possible at all. It feeds us. We breathe in it. So let's look at her. If our mother is sick, and again I will repeat because maybe I said it in a hurry in my earlier brief talk and nobody listened. You see, if you ask me what is your religion, I will say this: well, I have problem with your religion, okay? Your color is not as white as mine or not as black as I am from Africa. Well, that we can live with, but there is a difference. What language do you speak? I speak this language. Oh, I don't speak that language. Yes, there is a difference. We can start counting all those differences. Which countries do you like? Which political boundaries do you like? But there is one thing we cannot dispute and discriminate, and that is we have one mother, and that is Earth. Nobody can dispute that. I remember once we were standing, my daughter was crazy about animals and birds. She had a loaf of bread in her hand, and there were pigeons on the bus stop, and she was feeding the pigeons. A man came to me and said she should not do that. I said, why? He said, because we want them to die, otherwise they, you see, look at their ugly droppings. They deface the buildings. For a moment I kept quiet. I said, sometimes I wonder whether we deserve to live or not. How many scars we leave on this earth? How many bad droppings do we put on this earth? And we cannot tolerate birds and animals doing the same? No. This earth will cease to exist if any one of these components are missing or is absent. So we should look at the following. One, it's a very natural phenomena which we try to do, all of us in our lives. If I live in a house, I'll make sure if I don't add anything to it, at least I leave it as I had inherited for my children. We inherited this planet. Are we leaving it as we inherited it? If we are leaving it in a bad shape, then we have been dishonest. We have not been true to the posterity, to the next generation that we claim to love, and we are responsible for their coming into this world. Then we are dishonest, we are hypocrites. So be sure to leave this earth at least in the same position in which we found it. Second thing, avoid all those things. We are so conscious about our health, about our intakes. We shouldn't eat this, we shouldn't eat that, not too much oil, not too much fat. What earth are you talking about if you don't look at the mother? What are you feeding her? What are you injecting in her body? Think about that. If there are certain things that are injurious to your body, point out those things that are injurious to the one who sustains us all. Avoid them. So this is my message for today. A happy, wonderful life on this earth. I tell you, this is the greatest gift. Many gifts we don't realize. We realize them only when they are disappearing from our sides. When we feel suffocated, when we feel choked, then we realize how do we feel to have fresh air, clean water, good food. All this is gift of our planet Earth. Think about it. So far we have not been able to discover any other planet, and you have seen the pictures of those planets, dry, with scratches, caves without any life because there is no water there. So water is the source of life. All our documents, all our books, even the Muslim holy script says, Al-Hayyu min al-Ma, life is with water. Make sure that our waters are clean. Make sure we don't pollute them. Make sure we don't pollute the air. Don't use those energies that are taking us to the grave. And we will all go to the grave, but if you want the next generation to prosper and survive, then we make sure that this earth is healthy enough to sustain them. You have been very patient. Thank you so much for listening to what I had to say.
Thank you very much. That was very inspiring.
My pleasure.